welcome to Pop Culture Corner, the show where we review all things Pop Culture Corner. I'm Zach.
And I'm Margaret.
And today we are going to be taking a look at A Troll in Central Park.
Yep. Released in some countries, Stanley's Magic Garden is a 1994 American animated musical fantasy film co-directed by Don Bluth and Gary Goldman. And the Stanley's Magic Garden was another title for it. And it features the voice talents of Dom DeLuise, Cloris Leachman, Charles Nelson Riley, Philip Glasser, Tawny Sunshine Glover, Haley Mills, and Jonathan Pryce. And it is also the final film to star Dom DeLuise.
And now originally, Stanley was going to be voiced by Buddy Hackett, and King Lort was going to be played by Robert Morley.
Theatrically released in the United States on October 7th, 1994 by Warner Brothers. The film was panned by critics and grossed $71,368 at the North American box office, becoming unfortunately unsuccessful in the box office. And many professional critics and Bluth fans have regarded it as one of Bluth's worst films, but I personally loved the film.
And when production of A Troll in Central Park began in 1990, sadly, due to money issues, several of the animators of Don Bluth ended up leaving Sullivan Bluth, and then went to work for Disney. They were working on Beauty and the Beast at the time.
Stanley is a troll with a magical green thumb, able to bring flowers and plants to life at a touch, which is actually forbidden at his home, the Kingdom of Trolls.
Yep.
When he is discovered doing so, the other trolls unfortunately arrest him and take him to Gnorga, the queen of the trolls, who concludes that Stanley unfortunately gives a bad name to trolls everywhere and demands that he be transformed to stones. But I personally didn't think that was very nice of her to say that about him. At the behest of her consort, Queen Gnorga instead banishes Stanley to Central Park in New York City, where after a series of mishaps happens, he ends up in a cave under the bridge.
While in New York, Stanley meets two kids named Rosie and Gus, who, Gus originally didn't believe that Stanley was a troll, but then they end up going on this adventure through Stanley's world.
Yep. And Gus and Rosie learn that they can't be taken to Central Park, only because their father, Alan, has to go to court for an important case, and their mother, Hillary, has to attend the open house on Park Avenue.
And, Rosie ended up meeting Stanley after mistook Stanley for her stuffed toy.
Yep. And, while left alone with their nanny, Maria, Gus, takes Rosie to the park himself, and they're playing with Gus's toy boat by the river, and that's when Rosie chases a butterfly to the bridge, where, like Zach just said, she mistakes Stanley for her own troll doll. And realizing that Stanley is a real troll, she follows Stanley into the cave, and they become friends.
Through Stanley's song known as Absolutely Green, which gets a reprise at the end of the movie.
After becoming surprised to meet Stanley and his crew of talking flowers, Gus tries to force Rosie to come home with him, and Stanley starts to struggle with Gus over Rosie. At the Kingdom of Trolls, Queen Gnorga sees this and amuses over it, but when she discovers Stanley, she is not very happy.
Right, because in the beginning, when King Lort said that it would be better to banish Stanley to New York, to Central Park, New York. Lord said that it was a place of rock and steel where nothing grows, ever.
Yep. And having witnessed Gus's frustration towards Rosie and Stanley, she decides to cast an evil spell on him, which makes Gus even more upset. And using his green thumb, Stanley enlarges Gus's toy boat, which was transformed into a dreamboat to save the kids, and they both escape together.
Yep. And when Stanley used his thumb to turn it into fly the boat as well, he sings "Welcome to My World."
Yep, and determined to suppress Stanley herself, Queen Gnorga sends a tornado to transport her and Lort to Central Park, while it destroys the park and everything that was green on it. And meanwhile, Gus and Rosie wake from their nap and decide to get back home. And Gnorga and Lort pursue the pair, intending to use them to bait Stanley, and Queen Gnorga kidnaps Rosie, but Gus manages to elude her thanks to Lort's incompetence.
So he asks Stanley for help, but Stanley hesitates because he's afraid of Gnorga.
Yep.
So Gus ends up telling him that the reason he won't have a dream come true is because he's too scared to fight for what he believes in.
Yep. And he returns to the cave in the bridge and tries to persuade Stanley to help him save his sister, but Stanley, frightened of the reign of Queen Gnorga, refuses and claims that his magic is no match for Gnorga's herself. And Gus leaves to face Queen Gnorga himself with the flowers and animals as his backup.
Yep, and then Gnorga ends up using her magic thumb to turn Gus into a troll himself, with his own magic thumb, which he uses to turn Lort's feet into stone.
Arriving at the abandoned building where Gnorga and Lort are waiting for Stanley, Gus finds Rosie in a kennel and frees her while the flowers tie up Gnorga's dog, and Gnorga and Lort chase them out of the building, which leads to a battle.
Yep, and Stanley ends up confronting Gnorga, and the big climax of their fight is thumb wrestling.
Yep, and Stanley wins the battle successfully with Gnorga, and Gus, Rosie, and their parents visit Central Park. So I thought it was really cool how it ended.
Mm-hmm. I found A Troll in Central Park to be a great movie with fantastic dumb animation. The characters were likable, except for Gnorga.
Yeah, no, she was one of the characters that wasn't very likable.
And also, the songs were really memorable, except for Queen of Mean, the villain song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that wasn't a good one either. And, I liked the animation. I liked, most of the characters and songs. I liked, all the colors in the animation and, like the graphics, and I liked the storyline. A lot of the storyline were really touching. So overall, I thought it was a really good movie. Okay.
So, thank you all for joining us on this magical ride on Pop Culture Corner today.
Yep.
This is Zach.
And Margaret.
Signing out.